Hello, welcome to Creative Crafts. I'm Michelle, and for today's tip of the day, I'm going to tell you what I like to do with my recipes. Every time I get a favorite recipe that I just don't want to lose, I go ahead and laminate it. And I fill a page on both sides, and then I have this beautiful recipe that's been passed down from generation to generation. Now today we're going to make my children's favorite recipe. It is chocolate chip bread. So what we need to do is gather all our ingredients, which I've already done. We're going to go ahead and start the oven as well to 400 degrees. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and double up this recipe. I've altered this recipe because I prefer to use wheat flour and a few other goodies that my children don't know about. We'll find out about that in a little while. Let's hope they're not listening. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 cups of the wheat flour. And then we're going to go ahead and grab the soy flour. And we'll go ahead and put 2 cups of that as well. Now I prefer to use other flours quite a bit, such as almond flour, garbanzo bean flour, Alright, we're going to go ahead and add some sugar. Now for this particular recipe, I'm going to go ahead and use Spenda because the person I'm making this for happens to have diabetes. So the recipe, go ahead and calls for 1/2 cup. I'm going to go ahead and do 1 cup since we're doubling up this recipe. We're going to need 2 eggs. We will need 2 tablespoons of baking powder. This beautiful kit that I got for Christmas last year from my loving husband. There's 2 teaspoons. We need to have 1 teaspoon of salt. I prefer to use the sea salt. We'll go ahead and mix that in. Alright, now the surprise that my kids really don't know about is I prefer to use some flaxseed meal. Now I just eyeball this. It's usually about 1/2 cup that I put in extra. We're also going to need some vanilla. We will go ahead and use about 1 tablespoon of vanilla. There we go. And we'll need some olive oil. And we're going to go ahead and use 1/2 cup of olive oil. And then we'll need some milk. We'll go ahead and mix it up, and then we'll bake this for about 20 minutes at 400 degrees. You can't forget the chocolate chips. I think that's the seller of this whole recipe. Now I usually use the white chocolate chips, but today I'm going to go ahead and use the chocolate chips that I have here. We're going to need about a cup of chocolate chips. Do we really need to measure the chocolate chips? No, everybody loves chocolate chips, so we'll just go ahead and put in about 1.5 cups. Alright, the milk. We're going to go ahead and use 1.5 cups of milk. Now this original recipe was from Taste of Home, but I have changed it quite a bit. I have added vanilla, which it did not have. I have changed the oil to olive oil, and today, the wheat flour and the soy flour. And then I've also decided to use Spenda instead of regular sugar. So we're going to go ahead and take this to the mixer and mix this up so it's nice and creamy. While that's mixing, we're going to go ahead and spray our pans, because it would be so disappointing if you cooked this bread and your stomach growled the whole time. You could smell it cooking, and then it stuck to the pan and you couldn't even eat it. So we're going to go ahead and oil this with some olive oil that I have in my sprayer here. Now when you're cooking, you always want to get all the sides smushed down, because there might be something really delicious in there that gets lost, like the spatula. All right, we'll just mix that up just another second. All right, now this dough to me tends to be a little bit more thicker than the other bread dough that I've made. So you have to really scoop it out. And it seems like it's going to be very dry. But something happens when this cooks and it ends up just fabulous. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven for 20 minutes at 400. Come back and see us in 20 minutes and you'll see how delicious it is. Thank you for joining me today. I know you will be loving this chocolate chip bread as well as your whole entire family. Come and see me again for more crafting tricks and tips.